With service delivery protests flaring up in many parts of South Africa, the spotlight is once again on local government level. In Johannesburg specifically, questions have been raised about leadership instability as the city had no less than 8 mayors since 2016. And to talk more about this impact and how it impacts service delivery, we are now joined by Wits School of Governance professor and founder of Democracy Works Foundation, Professor William Gumede. He joins us now via our video link. Professor, thank you so much for your time this evening here on SABC News. Let's start off here. I mean, just a few moments ago, we saw that package there by my colleague in Ntla talking about the DA's mayoral candidate, Helen Zille. Let's talk about her first and just your reaction. She comes with a lot of experience. She's been a mayor in Cape Town. She's also been premier in the Western Cape. What are your thoughts on the DA's mayoral candidate for next year's local government elections?
No, thank you for having me. I think it is a game changer. And clearly, I mean, she seems to have enough energy or lots of energy, to take up this very tough stint to turn around Johannesburg. I mean, it's a great challenge and a great opportunity, but it all going to depend on the voters. I mean, it's going to be very, very interesting. Can our voters, black voters, and can former voters who vote for the ANC, can they change and focus really on competence and on somebody and vote for a political party that they may not like, and for somebody with a different color that they don't like, but who may be better and more competent to deliver the Johannesburg they want? Because that is a very important part of democracy. I mean, one of the reasons why our democracy has failed so far, why we have service delivery failure, why Johannesburg has collapsed, is because many voters continue to vote for political parties based on color, based on the past, based on struggle credentials, based on people singing, based on people who shout the loudest rhetoric or who blame other people. So that's called trauma-born voting. You vote against your own interests because you vote based on the past and not based on competence. So it is going to be, I think it's going to be a very, very important groundwater to see whether we, as a country, voters can make the change.
And staying with mayoral candidates, earlier in the week, we also saw the Patriotic Alliance announcing Kenny Kunene as their mayoral candidate for their party. And also, this comes on the back of Kenny Kunene resigning as MMC in the city of Johannesburg. And we are still waiting for that report from the Patriotic Alliance to come out. What does it say about the party and the message it's sending to its voters?
It doesn't make sense, really. I mean, to say Kenny Kunene to become the mayoral candidate is almost as if they want to lose deliberately. I mean, he's coming out of a scandal, and he has got many other scandals, and they actually have a couple of new, really competent candidates, and I wonder why did they not bring the younger candidates forward to one of them to stand for the mayorship. I think what it says about the Patriotic Alliance, I think they most probably think that their voters will vote for them just not on competence, not based on them having a flawed candidate, but because their voters emotionally believe in them. Again, is that when I say that trauma-born voting, that citizens vote for people, not based on competence, not based on the honesty, but really based on I like you because you look like me. I like you because you speak like me. And if people vote that way, if voters vote that way, then they're going to have lots of pain for many years to come.
And let's come to the issue in the city of Johannesburg. I mean, we've seen at least 8 mayors in the city of Johannesburg since the 2016 local government elections, and service delivery challenges and service delivery as a whole seem to be on its knees in the city of Johannesburg. We see protests take place week in, week out, whether it's water, whether it's electricity, pothole issues, lights, street lights. So there is basically a lot of challenges facing the city of Johannesburg. And this instability of leadership, what does it do to service delivery in a metro like Johannesburg?
You know, our great city, Johannesburg, really is now, I mean, it's becoming a failed city, like many failed cities across Africa, African failed cities. If you think about people, we always talk about failed countries, but failed countries have failed cities. And one of the reasons why Johannesburg has been failing is the instability in leadership. I mean, to have so many mayors over such a short period. Now, in cities around the world, where the public service of the city is competent and professionalized, cities can actually survive political instability. Now, our problem is in Johannesburg and other cities, but also in the our national government, we have a public service that has been dominated by ANC cadre deployed individuals who are not there based on their competence or their professionalism, meaning if there's instability at a political level, there's also instability at a public service, as a city public service level. I mean, in many countries, many more stable democracies where the public service is professional and where the public service, where political appointments are not allowed and deployments are not allowed, and where and so on. Many countries and cities can govern competently, even if there are instability in the political leadership, even if there are no government, because often in many developed countries, there's no government at the national level because they struggle to put a coalition together, but delivery continues.
And Professor, before I let you go, as we head to the elections, what kind of leadership is needed for a city like Johannesburg, particularly with the challenges it's facing?
The first thing I would tell voters, fellow voters, fellow city of Johannesburg, when you vote for an individual, the first thing is just check, has that person had a career or a job outside politics and outside the state? If the person has spent his or her whole life in politics and in the state, please do not vote for such a person. That's the first thing. Second thing, is the person, a competent? Is it an honest individual? Because if you don't have an honest individual, you're not going to get honest government. It's just as simple as that. Then, when you hear a person start a campaign based on singing alone, please do not vote for a person like that. The same if you hear a person use old rhetoric, ideologies, and so on. That's not a basis of voting. And then the last one, in terms of one can always, voting in a democracy means one can vote against one's own party and against one's own favorites in order to vote for competence. We haven't yet had that culture in our country where people vote against their parties, but voting for better candidates that are better than their own party candidates. Yeah. So that's very important that that voters actually begin to think of voting in that way. Then maybe the last one, that do not vote based on color and because you know a person or the person looks like you or talks like you.
All right, Professor, thank you so much for your time. That's Professor William Gumede, political analyst there, just giving us his insights in terms of the issues facing the city of Johannesburg, also reacting there to the DA's mayoral candidate being Helen Zille.